This afternoon, at least 3 persons feared death from flooding in Adenta as residents in some parts of Accra count their losses after Sunday's downpour. The Ghana Meteorological Agency, meanwhile, says more rains are expected.
Also to come, the minority in Parliament calls on Energy Minister John Jinapor to stop what they describe as scaremongering and focus on addressing the challenges in the energy sector.
And with 2 more cases of Mpox confirmed, one in the Greater Accra region and another in the Western region, will engage the Ghana Health Service on containment measures.
We're live on TV3. This is News Central, and I'm Kemini Amano.
And I am Mawena Egbeta. The bulletin starts right now.
In our first story, the Electricity Company of Ghana has informed the public that the heavy rainstorm that hit the Greater Accra region on Sunday has led to floods and several power outages across its network. A statement released today from ECG confirmed that after the rainfall, the National Disaster Management Organization requested the isolation of certain areas due to severe flooding. Affected areas include Boteman Stadium, Affordable Housing Area, Boteman Township, Lakeside, Kisiman, Dom, Pillar 2, and several others. ECG has assured customers that efforts are underway to restore power, but that it is also working closely with NADMO to ensure safety and follow necessary directives before power can be restored to the affected areas. Dr. Charles Ni Ayiku is the General Manager for External Communications at ECG. He's joining us with a bit more on the story. Doc, good afternoon to you. I appreciate you joining us, but could you give us a quick update on the situation, particularly to do with power?
Thank you very much for having me. Yeah, so as we are aware, yesterday's rainstorm caused some outages within our operational areas. And in collaboration with NADMO, they requested that we isolate some areas, which of course you have informed our cherished customers in the general public. Currently, we've also recorded some damages on our network, especially some broken conductors. But we hope to restore full power by close of today. You know, some of our feeders were put off at the request of NADMO. So we are currently working with them. Once they clear, and we are sure that safety, security, and every of our customers are fine, we would go ahead and then put our customers back on supply.
Very well, Doc. You know, I'm going to come back to you in a tad, but let's connect with the Meteorological Agency because we know that the head of Central Analysis and Forecasting at the Ghana Meteorological Agency, Felicity Ahiafanyo, is warning of more man-made, more floods as the rain set in. She spoke earlier on New Day after Sunday's downpour in parts of the country. Let's take a listen. Then I come back to you. We'll discuss the impact it's having on power and what the future holds for consumers.
The rain has started a long time ago, and we are in the rainy season. The challenge is we are having the dry spells in between the rainy days that we have been experiencing since March. As we are moving towards the peak of the season, which is in June, and then we expect it to decline in later part of July into August for the southern sector. We expect this sort of rain in terms of the intensity. Yesterday we had a rainstorm over the ocean that pushed inland all the way from the Aflawu border into Upper Cement. And then since its moisture laden conditions are ripe, we have it lingering on for hours. Some areas had it for almost like 6 hours. Some had it almost at 4 hours. And then the intensity is moderate, causing a flash flood over some places. And as we keep saying, some of the floods are man-made because we choose to block the waterway. So where the runoff is supposed to pass, it's not getting it. So definitely it will create big foam bath and then go and cause havoc. The volume that comes, I've not received the figures that I'm trying to get to the office. Okay. But then if you check where I was near observation, I'm sure some areas will get around 50 millimeters, others may get 20, others may get 60 millimeters. So the volume was quite great, which can result into the flash flooding that we have experienced. Then also moving forward, yes, at least 2 or 3 of such type of rain is still possible to affect the southern sector. It may not be Accra again, but maybe for Volta, it may be for Kufuria or anything into Ashanti region, and then maybe one more for the coastal state, where maybe Accra may also get that situation. So as Ghanaian as citizens, we need to have our gains to see what we can do to distill most of our
Felicity Ahafonyo there. She is with the Ghana Meteorological Agency. We still have with us Dr. Charles Nia-Ayiku, who is the General Manager for External Communications at ECG. Now, Doc, you were telling us earlier that the downpour had impacts on some of your equipment. Talk to us about the nature of the impact and the level of impact that you suffered from the downpour.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you, Doc.
Yes. Your line, Doc, please.
Doc, I'm afraid we'd have to end our conversation because of the poor audio connection on your Zoom at this time, but we'll fix that problem, bring him back, have more conversations on the back of this. But he's clearly told us that indeed the situation will be done with by close of today. And so people in that area should expect that without any last-minute changes, by close of today, power will be restored to these areas. Let's try Dr. Charles Nia-Ayiku again. Doc, let's try one more time, but talk to us about the impact the downpour has already had on you in terms of your equipment, your stations outside.
Yes, so as I indicated earlier, it has also affected some parts of our network, and especially some booking conductors. We are assessing the situation, but that will not stop us from providing power as soon as we get clearance from NADO. So we hope by close of today, we will do power to all our customers.
Well, Doc, I apologize. We'll have to end our conversation at this time. The audio is just terrible. We'll blame it on the weather. But thank you so much. Dr. Charles Nia-Ayiku is with the Electricity Company of Ghana, who's been telling us what the situation is for those of you around Lakeside, East Legon Hills, Boteman Stadium, and the likes. But the flood situation is much more than that. And Mawena will take us through some numbers in a tad. Mawena, what are we looking at? In terms of the crises at this point that we are facing with flood and the dangers that come along with it?
Well, yesterday's was just one out of many, one that many say they were expecting because of the trajectory from whence we've come from. We've seen people sharing newspaper articles from the 60s, thereabout, 2016, thereabout, and yet still flooding continues to persist. What we're seeking to do is just paint a picture of what it is really that it looks like since 1935 up until 2023, which data is readily available for us on our flooding situation, and you see quite a huge number. 300,000 persons have lost their lives between this period up until now. And just as we've been telling you about, we'll get details of that when my colleague Christian Yale joins us shortly. More persons have actually as well lost their lives. We've had over 700,000 persons displaced over the period, and then well in excess of $1 billion really in terms of the loss to our economy. And these flood events, we know, have transcended generations. You can make that argument quite simply. In 2000 we had what, 3 reported incidents with how widespread it was. But the highlight really for a lot of us has been 2015, where that June 3 flood and fire disaster claimed the most lives. But there were as many as 18 separate incidents of flooding in 2015, and then the highest again being in 2023, where we had as much as 20 of such incidents all play out within the last space of the last few years. But let's try and, like I mentioned, paint for us a historical antecedent. 1935 is where, as far back we can look at and say, really, the capital Accra began to experience a lot of flooding. And Ghana essentially, because now we've moved past the capital, we know that early on over the weekend as well, parts of the Ashanti regional capital, Kumasi, the Kumasi airport runabout, to be specific, was quite flooded as well. Then we can go back to 59, 1995 as well, and then we can go on and on and on. But in terms of the casualties, really, and then the properties and the economic loss, that's where we begin to raise serious concerns as to why a lot more has not been done. We know that there's been projects that span governments. The Garrett project is one. The Odo has been desilted time immemorial, but yet again, that continues to be one of the major challenges. So we'll look at some of the causes shortly, but the deadliest of such flooding incidents was in 2015, where as many as 150 plus individuals lost their lives. We saw $100 million in terms of damages, with 10,000 persons displaced. And since then, it's been downwards because, like I mentioned, that was an event, an isolated incident, because of the nature of that particular incident, where there was floods and then fire, which resulted in a lot more lives being lost. But in terms of the causes, that's what I want to look at just briefly as we try and wrap up. And then we connect with my colleague Christian Yale. A large chunk of it, many make the argument that has been due to poor drainage. And so drainage coverage just as 40%. There's been rivers affected, and then temperature rises as well. All of that and more continues to cause a lot of the flooding. But now we're getting to know of poor planning and then persons building in waterways as well in recent times, causing areas that didn't used to flood or flood. And Christian Yale, like I mentioned, has been visiting some of the worst affected areas for us this afternoon. And he's joining us right now, where we understand 3 more persons rather, have lost their lives. Christian, talk to us. Where exactly are you? What can you report?
Eric, so I am coming to you live from Nana Krom within the Adental municipality, where we know that in the municipality itself, per conversations we have had with the MCE, 3 persons have lost their lives to the tragic incident that happened yesterday that has submerged homes and left a trail of destruction all around. But here inside Nana Krom, where I am right now, I can confirm to you that one family has lost their daughter, a girl who is just some 5 years old. We understand that in the course of the floodwaters and in an attempt to escape, she slipped and then the current of the water swept her away. We are here to confirm from the mother to see if they have been able to locate the body yet. And so join me as I engage this painful a better understanding of what really happened. I mean, what about the TV3 but your friend saying?
My friend Doris Baliki.
Any CNRA?
finance police that is a to I seen a make no see them. You soon town by Raya one of Missa. Until you one who sends to a back of until you one who say a packaging door, a baby grill. Now make I sing Sanka to pin him on. And so no a power was a fat toilet to ever by a panic. Going to make me say, Gentle name, Peter dinner, well group mission.
And what we're just trying to rectify briefly that audio connection with my colleague Christian Yale, who's speaking to mother of a 5-year-old who've lost their daughter due to yesterday's flood. She slipped, fell. The current of the water took her away. Her body is yet to even be found as of this afternoon as she's engaging my colleague Christian Yale. And just briefly from what she's been telling Christian, which I have been able to gather, this is not an area that usually floods. And so it's not something they are accustomed to, where they can say that they are expectant that when the rains begin to set in, then they have to be bracing themselves for the area being flooded, and then they can safeguard or move family away when it started. But none of that. Let's take you back there right now where Chris is engaging this mother.
Because almost yes, from Sanka, yes, severe life say a quabus rhyme, baby, a one bear save no, a one in a corner, a color way petrena, the soon fat, a color no so a share in the cheek, and a farm. A color wedding face. This next month, no one have 5 years. Next month, no one have 5 years. Much me who nemo no baby. Pacho Devi and who be seen the moon baby acronemo. Pacho Devi. Yadia, a sea sano, Moya Mambo police farm money and an animal farm money and Bebuamo said a bear moving home acron baby. Debbie, a sea son, me couldn't see the boy from Minchino, Bibiano, a shanny, some intimidating and me named the course of Bamini son upon a muque, coaching about Musoma Aqualan.
So that is the account. In an attempt to rescue the daughter and move upstairs in the room where they slept, and the current of the flood waters, which was so strong, swept the daughter away, who is just turning 5 years old next month. As of now, as we engage her, as sober as she is, as sad as she is, she does not know the whereabouts of her daughter. Yene mpanifo din komo sade yene wo kase wo afidie ni so a mpanifo show when he asempa ne de hin den na opese mpanifo ya de bo asese yi
dem pese mpanifo ye bam omo bo mi na mi ba na mi hu it's just me to make because my me mi ba mu ye mi no pe o be baba ko oba no ne we kwa jam se de la me tu ye de la mi sa ju ke o mi asi de me o be bo mi na mi hu mi ba no.
A mother's cry, heartbreaking and heart-wrenching. Words cannot explain this. There's no way you can quantify the volume of sadness in her heart. She has just 2 children, 1 boy, 1 girl, and the girl has been taken away by floodwaters. This is something that she never dreamt of happening. This is something that she never saw coming, but a tragic blow that has struck her and the family. She tells me that as of now, the husband is angry at her. But you would understand that she was also doing her bit in an attempt to salvage the situation, in an attempt to take care of the children. Into Babema no Wednesday here.
No, only on Timinche. ono tinina na nche onima enti mini be obanu ene mi kunu ene mi sister banu mi sister no we ne banu na eti nti penin de onima
Kafra. And so that's the situation here, Eric. When it gets to moments like this, you just dip yourself into the situation of these affected people and you realize that it is life, and at any moment, anything can happen to you. See, in just a jiffy, we'll take you to the area itself, and you see that trail of destruction. Almost everyone has been affected. People's house, people have abandoned their jobs. And of course, even the stores have been taken over by floodwaters, and they are just now sweeping these waters away. It tells you the pain, the suffering that people are going through. Residents of Nana Krom need help, and if they need help, it is now. We'll be back in a jiffy. Eric.
Thank you very much, Christian Yale, really detailing harrowing story by the mother there. And like Chris mentioned, they need help, and we want to take that to NADMO right now, Kemeni. What sort of help are these individuals getting right now?
Absolutely, and Maina, we already know that the 5-year-old girl is one of 3 people reported to have died from the floods that took place as a result of Sunday's downpour. Let's connect now with Major Retired Dr. Joseph Bikanyi Kunyong, who is the Director General of NADMO. Doc, good afternoon to you. I know that NADMO has been busy doing a lot of work. Bring us up to speed what you've been doing so far. Hello, Doc. Well, it would appear we cannot connect with Doc at the moment, Mawena. But we know that over the weekend, NADMO had released some emergency numbers for those who needed assistance. It will be a fine opportunity to put out those numbers, at this time. But these areas where flood is occurring at this level, it seems to be a new thing for the people who live or reside in these areas.
And just by way of what is on your screen, I mean, people have grown tired having conversations about flooding in the capital. And what makes it worse is these new areas where traditionally have not been known to flood. And that's the story of the woman, because if it was the case that they knew that this is a place that when it rains, it gets flooded, they would have fled to safety. But in their homes, suddenly they see the water rushing in a bid to move to safety. The kid slips, falls, is taken away by the current. Every year, we're recounting stories. And we've just been walking by way of the numbers through the details of how this has become an annual ritual for us. Every year, we're recounting how areas are not supposed to be flooded. They are getting flooded. And all over social media, there are conversations being had. When really can we as a people say we've dealt with flooding? I mean, since 1935, every year we're having a conversation one way or the other about lives being lost again. I just cannot really
But it would appear that there's more to the historical data that you're sharing with us while we look at these very rather disturbing pictures from across town. What else is there to know, Mawana?
Well, I mean, so since 2015, which was really the year where we saw the most devastation, it's been 3 times more frequent in terms of flooding since then. The cost as well has increased, and then the areas are increasing as well. That's why we're mentioning that we're seeing newer and newer areas which traditionally did not used to experience these flooding incidents suddenly being engulfed or being captured in the storytelling of when it rains and places being flooded. And so this is just a view of really what the casualty numbers look like. And I was trying to walk us through what it is that is seeming to have been causing a lot of these floods. And the breakdown suggests that climate change is to account for 20%, urban expansion as well, Then there is a conversation as poor drainage, also significantly impacting a lot of what we're seeing, accounting for 40%. And interestingly as well, illegal mining, because we've had conversations in the past as to how the activities of illegal miners in these areas, Eastern region and then the likes, because the Eastern region rests above the Greater Accra region, where many have made the argument that very soon, because of how poorly we've planned, it will not rain in Accra, and yet areas in the capital will be flooded as well. In terms of what responses have been, we know that shelters have been created. The World Bank has provided funding a number of times for $200 million to take care of a number of these emergency responses. But to zoom in into what really we're seeking to do, a chunk of what we've seen in terms of the funding has gone into infrastructure, where we're seeking to build more drains, then the provision of shelter as well. Then we can talk about this other aspect of outside of shelter, what more medical aid being provided as well, and then lastly food and water as well being provided. And so we can begin to see for ourselves what really the situation is. Interestingly as well, Kamini, on Friday, the president, during his thank you tour in the Greater Accra region, had cause to remind persons to move to safer areas in preparedness of the rains, because enough intervention has not been done just as yet by this new government to take care of the rains which was coming. He said that on Friday. Sunday we've seen the rains coming, and I get the indication that Chris is at a new area as well to paint for us a picture as to what really transpired. Let's go to Christopher right now. Christian, rather. Chris, you've moved to a new area. What is there? What can you report there as well?
Hello, come again.
Yes, I'm just asking. You said you were going to paint for us a more harrowing picture of what the rains did yesterday. Are you there now? What can you show us?
Exactly, Eric. So as you see in your shot, you realize that almost everyone has deserted their houses. There is a street that takes you down all the way there. You see people's sofas, their chairs, houses, lost house after the practice place yesterday. I can show you this house. Where you realize that there's some level of water inside. It becomes very difficult to move around, really. And so that's the situation here. In other houses, in other places, when you go to check, you even realize that they are still trying to sweep the water away, which I'll show you briefly. And when you see even the level of the water, the magnitude with which it swept through this whole area, you realize that it was a whole blow altogether. But let me speak to you briefly. You're live on TV3 Ghana. Send and Shona a toy and rano and ne flood no ahawafa.
I say any amena, Yempia, Yempia, and Shona say, after the Yan, Yadasotiso, anything I talk about Ama Don Mahama, Tia Strano, Ama road no, any and what Anamaya, Yapanic show, yes, Strano. But for men were no Piana, I say. Yes, a good Yapani chow, and you try to Abama John Mahama, into a strano, on my young Quaimayan.
Okase, Amphibia, a Sisa, a Hamadintina, in Adintina Modaso, for instance. Ah, near this kind of high down, yet this kind of high down, Tihan, Ebranga, near Konya Siaba, Yanisika, this kind of high down, and it's Yakwa, near Siaba, you was kind of high down, Yametana. Aha, and the Anutina Maya Dasotian. Amphibia. Tia bread, tia strano, only a mobile. No, my young Quaimayan, no, my young what I use my yes, strano. Amphibia, and Yama say. So she's saying that, for instance, that almost every year this happens to them. I mean, the plea is one that the government should step in and come to their rescue and come to help them. But there is another house here which has been affected. You see, for instance, that they've brought all their items, all their clothing, almost everything outside in order to more or less begin to dry them. Then all kafa we home.
Nechi Jabia, Yakiosia Lachima, Yamuda Shiada Gula, never Peremianchi, Nemiapajina Gem.
That's interesting. It's Mwabe now pays here, say, Abamba.
Guatano, Mbaya Guatano, my any quino, name Watoy.
And I'm coming to Juma. When I sent you one corner today.
In Sunintina, mean Kojuma. And I knew face in Yaman.
So and just like her, there are many of them who could not go to work today because of the situation. And indeed, when you have a lot of things to salvage, there's no way they could have left their belongings and have gone to work. So let me show you this building of the church here to paint a picture of the level of the water. And it's very devastating to say the least. Let me speak to the assembly member here, for instance. He has been up, he's been awake throughout the time, throughout the night. So now, yesterday, the understanding I get from the resident, and he himself indicates that he was almost carried away by the water. What's your name?
My name is Honorable Bright Apedo.
How do you assess the situation? Have you had NADMO officials come around to help you?
Actually, the situation is very, very devastating and heartbreaking because this is the first time such a disaster is happening, and it's a calamity to the community. This one is really, really, really over the community. As you can see, the people are in, how do you call it, they are outraged, they are angry, they are sad. Everything of theirs is actually destroyed to the rain. And Nanbo was here yesterday, but when they weren't able to do much because they didn't have much resources to help the community people. As we speak now, they said they'll be coming back. I don't know what they'll be doing, but they said they'll be coming back to see the situation at hand and how they can help them. But we're also calling on government, how do you call it, the urban areas and then road and highways to also intervene, because we'll be looking at the bridge. The bridge is broken at the moment as we speak. And then we also need frequent distilling of our gutters. The assembly is doing its part, but we also need more interventions from the national government. Thank you very much.
And so that is the situation. That's the assembly member for this area, Nana Krom, which is located within the Adentan municipality. This is where we are, and it's almost everywhere in this area that has been affected by the flood waters.
You people do something for us. Our mothers and sisters are suffering here.
All right, that is another resident. And so, Eric, there we have it. And it's not even Nana Krom alone. I've been to places like Lakeside. I've been to New Legon, which is Adentan New Legon. When you get to Ashie, for instance, that is another place that has been worst hit by this. You see all of these provision stores that have been affected. No one can buy or sell at this moment. And when you get to the other side of the town, you realize, for instance, that people's cars have been affected. And let me briefly show you, before maybe I come back to you, Eric, let me briefly show you this house. You see all their fridges here. You see all their belongings that have been brought outside. See beds, some are double beds, some are single beds in various inches that have been affected by the flood waters. It is really an impacting one that has brought lives to a standstill, that have brought every facet of their living here to a halt with nothing to salvage. And indeed, just like I said earlier, they need help, and if they need help, that help must come as urgently as now. And that is the situation. So, and actually, when you look at how things are unfolding here, you realize that there are a lot of people who have actually lost a lot by way of their vehicles as well, engines of 4x4 vehicles, Lexuses, and the rest of them that have been affected as well by this. Right. I saw earlier a car that has been turned upside down by the flood waters. It tells you about the current and how torrential everything unfolded.
Right, Chris, thank you. But do take care of yourself as well, Chris, even as you wade through these waters, health concerns and all of that. But, Kems, I mean, it is quite devastating. Absolutely, you see the water levels almost chest level, because it has windows and all of that. And very concerning how near 5 hours of rain could wreak that much havoc.
Absolutely.
It's a cause for serious concern, and one that should concern all of us. I mean, we've been having conversations behind the scenes, estate developers, municipal assembly individuals,
everybody
all
has
having
a
to
role
play a role in one way or the other. But we'll pull the brakes on flood and go for this quick break. When we return, we take you to Parliament because the minority there, they have some choice words for the Energy Minister. We'll get the details shortly. Stay with us.
Welcome back. You're still live here on News Central. I'm Kemini Amano. Let's get into other stories to do with the law. The Court of Appeal has dismissed an application by lawyers of defunct Menzgold CEO Nanapia Mensah, also known as Namwan, to halt his case at the High Court. Namwan filed a repeat application to halt proceedings after the High Court threw out the motion to suspend hearings pending the decision by the Court of Appeals on his application to overturn the ruling for him to open his defense. Nanapia Mensah is facing various charges, including defrauding by false pretenses, fraudulent breach of trust, and money laundering. Lord Edwasare is our court correspondent, joining us with more details on the story. Lord, good afternoon. What does all of this mean?
Right, Kemini. So up until today, the Namon's case at the High Court had been halted because he had filed an application to halt the proceedings. You recall that about a month ago, the High Court ruled and actually dismissed the submission of no case, meaning that the prosecution had found cause for him to answer to the charges that had been proffered against him. And Naman wasn't too pleased with that, so he filed an appeal at the Court of Appeal to challenge the decision of the High Court. But even before the Court of Appeal could hear that appeal, he filed another application to halt the hearings of his case at the High Court. And then the High Court dismissed that application. So he filed another application at the Court of Appeal to sort of uphold his application to hold the proceedings at the High Court. So this is the application that has been dismissed by the Court of Appeal. Now what this means is that the High Court can now proceed with the trial of Nanapia Mensah, even as the Court of Appeal is yet to decide on his appeal on that submission of no case decision by the High Court, Kemini. So we are back in court on May 28th for the trial to continue. Naman himself spoke to us after the hearing. He was not too pleased, but he said he's not giving up. He's going to escalate the matter. So listen to him.
Anna, your request to have a stay of proceedings, the court did not agree. What would you have to say?
It doesn't end here. I mean, we still have the Supreme Court. So we just exercise all our rights, you know, enshrined under the Constitution, the Republic, this beautiful Republic. So I'll confer with my lawyers, and then whatever as they so advise, we'll proceed. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Indeed, Lord, he looks a lot more and sounds a lot more confident than the last time we saw him. But talk to us about what his lawyer have also been telling you.
Well, so it's not the matter, except to go back to the High Court and try to make their case, because they still believe that Namwan hasn't got any offenses to, any charges to answer to. They still hold very firmly to that ground. Do you recall the spokesperson for the aggrieved customers, over 200 aggrieved customers, Frederick Fortin? He was also pleased with this decision by the Court of Appeal, and they are also looking forward to what will transpire at the High Court and go back next.
I think it's all well and good, and it's in the interest of justice, and that at the end of the day, it's been given the fair trial which is going on, and we are happy that now the court below can proceed with the trial. And I'm told, I've been advised by our lawyer that while the trial is going on, the actual appeal can also take place, and it doesn't take away any right from the accused persons. And so as customers, we are happy. We have been calling for speedy trial, and I think that is what's going on.
We note that you've raised concerns about the delays in the matter, having in mind the processes that have to happen in court and all of that. Are you patient enough to allow the processes to work within the court?
Yes, some of us, we've been coming to court and we've been advised and educated by our lawyers, and so we know that there's a saying that the wheel of justice grinds slowly, but it will surely get to its destination. Even though we had anticipated that this case should have been dealt with before the end of last year, but however, justice have its own path, and that is what we are patiently going along with them.
Lord, thank you so much for the report. And Lord Eduasare there bringing us the very latest on the #1 case at the High Court.
Let's switch from the courts to the legislature, because the minority there, they've asked the Energy Minister, John Jinapor, to stop what they describe as scaremongering and focus on addressing the challenges in the country's energy sector. At a media briefing in Parliament, the ranking member of the Energy Committee, George Kwame Abuaji, said Dumso is gradually rearing its head again, and that should not be entertained.
It is imperative that the minister shift his focus from public pronouncement to tangible actions that will resolve the ongoing issue plaguing our power sector. It looks like our colleague, the Minister of Energy, seems more interested in making headlines than keeping the lights on. The minister's recent claim that Ghana has only 2.6 days of fuel left was not just baseless, but economically damaging. Such remarks create an atmosphere of uncertainty and instability, which is detrimental to investor confidence. The president campaigned on a 24-hour economy, his bold vision requiring uninterrupted power. But how can the private sector businesses, hospitals, agro-processing factories, pharmaceuticals, manufacturing, extractive industry, hospitality, educational institution, tourism and entertainment industry operate around the clock when the lights keep going off? Is it 24-hour economy or 24-hour blackout?
The lights were on. You come 5 months, within a month, the light is going on, off, on and off. And you are just coming to tell us that Ghana Water hasn't paid. So what? You are in power. Fix it. Yeah. That is why the people of this country gave them the mandate. So if you're not paying car power as an independent power producer, and your light is going off, I need to come back and tell us, the citizens, what are we supposed to do? You are the one who is in power. The NDC government should show leadership by paying the independent power producers the debt that they have to pay. You're not paying the debt, and you are announcing to us as citizens, what can we do? And they will tell you, Mahama is the hope. It is a hope.
And that's Frank Anodompre's Deputy Minority Chief Whip speaking as part of that news conference. They say they expect the NDC government to fix the current power challenges. It's a subject matter that I'm sure we'll continue to have a conversation on. But right now, let's bring you Regional Hub.
The mayor of Accra has launched a city-wide operation to clear traders and street hawkers from pavement near roads, citing safety concerns and traffic obstruction. With a deadline for compliance set to expire tomorrow, our reporter Safwa Abuahin is out in various markets across Accra to hear from the affected traders.
If you frequently commute through the market in Accra, you will be familiar with the difficulty navigating your way through the market due to the congestion caused by some market traders as well as street hawkers. Just about last week or some days ago, the Accra mayor, in the person of Michael Alote, spoke about the fact that they are embarking on an operation that is going to remove all market traders and street hawkers. We want to be finding out to know their thoughts about this and how prepared are they about this operation.
Na ye traffic 2 cedi, e trabola 2 cedi. Mo se alance so kan be 70 cedi. No matter se mo pam ye ngo didi yen. Yen kwa ifa. Se si a mama iska fo no nko stores. Ana ye mo yi ese ye hiafo. Yen si ati lorry kwan mu. Mo se bu tu yen. Mo tu yen. Yen kwa ye kro because yen be si Accra. Yen kwa ye kro mu nda yen kwa ye kro ma jira. Ye be kwa demonstration because ye single mothers.
Am I a hard drink? Yes, you might 1 inch, you take it 2 inches, 3 inches. And also, Lord, a Lord card, dear, and any part of a sejao. And to see a mom, baby, says, baby, amount, and was when he saw.
I said the parents, you know, be your mamma. Yanni, a prayer, who share ma. It's some of my promo, ye, baby, aqua, Yamaba, my boy, Slamo, a bear, Namoban, Mudamba, the young queer chickacra, Namo shot Mayan, Nabaya, Nadia, Slamo, Mamma, Fabaya, Biama, Yapamocho. Ye market be I quite one, ya ba la. By me and saying me thought you were who say any too much money, so yes, you quite know. Said the driver for Nakan and can Kingsway, Udu Kingsway, Unya Babintia. Ya have cried any man the Jinikakra.
We are still on the conversation about the congestion and decongestion of our market squares, and right behind me you can see something going on. I am standing right in the middle of Tudu, Accra Central, and it is very devastating to see the mess that has already been created behind me. Heap of trash almost getting to the middle of the road. Where are cars going to park?
Aha nye baby e the ball na way for no junkie for no. Omo kapa price baby aha no be drop ball anu. Nti ye be ko fie be ba de no na ha nyina ya basa.
Okay, sentiments are high as these market traders are expressing their views, reactions and thoughts about the AMA or the Accra Mayor coming together with a task force to uproot and remove these traders from the road. Let's see what will really happen. Some are saying they would demonstrate against it tomorrow or on Tuesday when these people come to remove them. We will see what will happen after today.
We will indeed. Thank you so much, Safwa, for bringing us that report. Safwa Buahin there.
Let's take you to the Ashanti region. A similar such exercise, because we know that for years, the central business district of Kumasi has been choked with vendors and parked vehicles. But in just the last 72 hours, city task forces have removed hundreds of traders, blocking walkways, sparking both relief and resistance. So is this the beginning of a lasting solution? If you know Kumasi very well, a very unusual sight on your screens right now. Ibrahim Abubakar is following through on this, is joining us right now. Ibrahim, talk to us about how free and spacious the city is looking following this work done by the task force.
Well, Mauna, indeed this exercise has come as a relief to both motorists and also pedestrians, even people who have gone to the CBD to conduct their shopping activity, because like you rightly mentioned, if you know Kumasi quite well, the stretch that we took the short for, it's always congested. In fact, driving from one end to the other, that's from even the roundabout, KDK roundabout to the MTR roundabout, which shouldn't take you 2 minutes. You end up spending 30 minutes or more in traffic. But the situation has improved for the past 3 days. But as we speak, gradually I've observed that some of the traders have begun crawling back to the pavement. For the median, they have ensured that no one is coming back there to conduct the trading activity. But on the shoulders of the road, the city guard has ensured that if you can push back for a walkway to be available for people to pass, then those people could be pardoned. So that is what others have done. Others are also gradually falling to the main shoulders of the road to transact their business. Now, KMA is doing this exercise in 3 phases. It is done with the first phase of educating them, taking the awareness on the need for the traders to move out. It has done the second phase of making sure that it clears the traders from the shoulders and median of the road. Now, the third phase will be about seizure of their wares and also possible prosecution. That will be done later. They are just observing to make sure that people voluntarily comply with the directive, else they will be forced to go there, seize their items or wares, and then prosecute them. That's when we are seeing the third phase. So now, like I said, relief people are going about, but then it has to do with the issue of sustainability as to whether this exercise will be sustained, because this is not the first time we are seeing similar exercise. Yet after some weeks, we see all these traders coming back. Now, KMA is trying to renovate and expand some of the satellite markets so that it will move all these traders there. Then we will be able to see the sustainability. I earlier engaged with some residents with regard to this exercise, even though they are happy, but they also raise concerns about sustainability.
Right, Ibrahim, we'll take a listen to them subsequently, but I appreciate these details that you've provided to us. That's my colleague Ibrahim Abubakar. Let's take you to one of our headline stories right now about the Mpox disease.
Absolutely, because the National Public Health and Reference Laboratory has confirmed 2 more cases of Mpox, one in the Greater Accra region and the other in the Western region. This brings the total number of confirmed cases to 4 as of May 18, 2025. Let's connect now with an expert on the subject matter, Dr. Joseph Oliver Komi, who is Director of he's Director of Infectious Diseases Center, and we'll discuss how this situation is impacting people's lives in the country. Doc, good afternoon to you. Let's talk about Mpox. Quickly tell us how this disease manifests in people, considering how it's spreading so far.
So good afternoon to your listeners and good afternoon to you. Mpox, we say, is a skin rash. It presents with rashes over the skin. Mpox is akin to chicken pox or to smallpox in the past. But we say smallpox has been eradicated, so there's no more smallpox. The closest to Mpox is chicken pox, or sometimes presents just like measles. So this is how the presentation of Mpox usually looks like. The key thing about Mpox is that it starts on the hair and then the face and onto the other extremities, as compared to chickenpox that may start from the body and later may involve the hair. You are asking about the presentation. Mpox could present differently in different categories of people. So for the young, maybe between the ages of 20 to about 40, Mpox may present just a simple rash. For the elderly, and then the people who are pregnant, people who are immunosuppressed, people who are very young, maybe below 15 years of age, they may have what we call severe form of Mpox.
I see.
Yes, I'm listening.
Now, Doc, how does this spread and what can people do to protect themselves?
Mpox is mainly spread by contact, where you need to come into contact with an infected person's fluid from the rash. So once that rash is covered, or once that rash is protected, and you do not come into contact with it, you will not get Mpox.
I see. Finally, tell us how the Ghana Health Service is ensuring that it curtails the spread of the virus.
So remember I said that it's by contact. And the key thing is that we need to try and avoid contact with infected persons. So what we say is that if you have a rash, you cover that rash. If you have a rash with a fever, with swollen lymph nodes, go to the hospital. Let the diagnosis be made. Let us put you in isolation. Isolation could be in hospital or isolation could be in your home. Let us follow you up. If it is not Mpox and it's something else, we will manage you as such. If it's Mpox, we shall also treat you over the period by which all the lesions will heal, and then we can say that you can go out of isolation. So the key thing is that report early. After reporting early, if it's Mpox, you will be in isolation. We will monitor you until all the lesions have healed, and then we shall let you come out of isolation. Isolation may be in hospital, or isolation may be in your home.
How ready would you say our facilities are to deal with cases when people present them at those facilities?
All the facilities across the region have been sensitized on Mpox. The case management teams have been activated. Almost every region has a place for isolation. We are not overwhelmed by the numbers. So I can say that the system is very ready to receive Mpox.
Indeed. Thank you so much, Dr. Oliver Komi, is Director of Infectious Diseases Center and also Case Management Lead at the Ghana, Mpox Case Management Lead at the Ghana Health Service. Well, that'll be all for us this afternoon.
Absolutely, and a lot more news as always when you log on to 3news.com. I am Mawina Agnata.
And I am Kameni Amano. Next is the afternoon show. We'll see you same time tomorrow. Bye-bye.